at this breakdown. Look at this $83.3 million jury award includes $65 million in punitive damages because the jury found this, that Trump acted maliciously out of hatred, ill will, or spite, vindictively, or out of wanton, reckless, or willful disregard of Ms. Carroll's rights. What does this tell you about how the jury approached this case and their view on victim shaming?
Right. I think that's the important point here, because this punitive damages award was so much larger than the award in the first trial. And this is something that Donald Trump brought on himself. It was his behavior, his continuation of the defamation, in reality, what we should think about this as is he is targeting E. Jean Carroll with his base on social media, in his public comments, and the jury didn't like that.
Yeah. Hugo, Trump says that he plans to appeal, of course. He has even invoked the Republican Party in his claims that his lawsuit was a politically motivated attack. Your sources, what are they telling you about this? And is this number even being seen as something that will effectively rein in Donald Trump?
I'll start with the last part first, and I think the answer is no, it won't be a deterrent.
That's extraordinary.
The way they are looking at it is basically we got caught flat-footed, we need to recalibrate. And I think, this is part of the thinking from inside Trump world that he still, needs to respond to the E. Jean Carroll case for his base, for his supporters, because he wants to look defiant still. But they also don't want another defamation suit. I think they were very surprised by the award yesterday. They did not expect anything close to 83 million. They were looking at the 5 million in the initial trial. They were thinking something close to that. So I think what they will do is they will recalibrate. We've seen this in previous instances when he's been held accountable, for instance, with a gag order. He starts going right up to the line, but he doesn't quite cross it. And I assume this is kind of the thing that his team is looking at doing, where they can respond in kind without actually prompting another defamation suit.
He mentioned something. Could a third defamation suit, Joyce, be brought if E. Jean Carroll chooses to do that?
She could, but these sorts of lawsuits, they're slow, right? We saw this one took years, 2019 to 2024. I think this is the end of the litigation strategy, at least as far as E. Jean Carroll is concerned. But what this becomes now is part of the public narrative about Donald Trump's fitness for office. E. Jean Carroll, I don't think will go home following this judgment. I've known her for a long time. We're good friends. I think she's someone who believes that people, men who do this sort of thing, should be held accountable.
Okay. This trial weighed quite heavily on Trump, Joyce. This week he shared a ton of vile, false narratives and statements about Carroll. Some of them previously ruled defamatory. Listen to this, 42 posts Monday, 37 Wednesday. And here's the one that really gets me, 14 on Friday while in court. That's pretty extraordinary. Do you get the sense that the jury compensated Carroll for all these repeat offenses? And the question is, when will Donald Trump have to pay up?
Right. So absolutely, the jury considered this. And Roberta Kaplan, who's E. Jean Carroll's lawyer, made this argument explicit. She said he has previously been found by a jury to be guilty of defamation. They awarded $5 million to Carroll. It was not enough to make him stop. Here he is with this entire barrage of social media posts, including one that said, I can't quote it exactly, but words to the effect of, I've said this before and I will continue to say it, right?
Oof.
I will continue.
At what cost?
And she highlighted that. And so I think Donald Trump, has no one to thank but himself for this large award of damages. The issue of when it will be collected has an uncertain answer. Donald Trump is entitled to appeal. Alina Habba has said he will do that. He will have to post an appeal bond in order to get there. Interesting fact about the former trial. The judgment is $5 million. Donald Trump did not post an appeal bond. He actually paid that full amount, about $5.5 million, because it's the amount of the judgment plus interest, into the court fund. I don't know if that's because he couldn't get an appeal bond or didn't want to, but now he's facing a much more difficult.
In other words, he parted with $5.5 million of his money. And that is something that has yet, though, to get into the hands of E. Jean Carroll, correct?
That's right, because that appeal is still underway.